74. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is 𝗪𝗲𝗯𝗶, Head of Training of HKIBIM. Today, our sharing topic is spatial representation and real-time data integration for digital twins on infrastructure projects during construction phase. We are happy to invite Benjamin 𝗪𝗲𝗍𝗆 from 𝗪𝗲𝗽𝗶, Hong Kong. Before the sharing session begins, I would like to introduce our HKIBIM Chairman, 𝗪𝗲𝗍𝗆, for have an introduction to us. 𝗪𝗲𝗍, please.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Welcome everyone to our HKIBIM 6 CBD event. So I'm 𝗪𝗲𝗍𝗆, Chairman for this term. So HKIBIM is established in January 2009. So today we have more than 1,400 members. The objects of the Institute is to promote advanced BIM management, foster general awareness, understanding, and concerted efforts in the community towards the advancement of the objects. Of course, to establish and advance standards within the industries, establish links with relevant institutes of tertiary education, governments, departments, and statutory bodies, including other organizations. Facilitate research and promote means of better management of BIMs. And of course, lastly, to provide guidance on careers to our BIMers. This is the board of HKIBIM for the term of 2025 to 2027. So for this term, we have two vice chair, 𝗪𝗏𝗍𝗆 Wong and Mr. Benny Liu. Corporate members, we have 15 corporate members. As compared to last time, we have 2 new corporate members that join HKIBIM as corporate members. China divisions, we are actively recruiting BIMers from mainland China. So hopefully there will be more members joining us. This is the young membership divisions. We are involving with guiding the secondary school students from Form 1 to Form 6, right? Hoping that they will pick up, understand BIM starting from age 13 onwards. This is the CBT events that we have held this term. So this is 6 CBT events. Hopefully we are on track of doing 1 CBT event every month. HKIBIM past events. So we just held earlier this year the BIM Automation Arena 2025, and we have held 1 visit to CFC, the Center for Future Constructions of CIC. The upcoming site visits for Tran Road T2 will be held this coming Saturday. So there's still vacancy, not many, but I think 1 or 2 vacancy left. So if any of the members are interested, so please let us know. I was in Korea, Seoul, Korea last Friday. So I make a congratulatory remarks at Korean Institute of Building Information's 2025 International Symposiums last Friday. So the conference was themed at Beyond Smart, the Rise of Intelligent Constructions. At that conference, we signed a MOU. So HKIBIM has signed a MOU to Korean Institute of Building Informations. So in hoping that we'll do more collaborations between 2 regions. So if any of the members have any great ideas, so do let us know, drop me an email. This is our social medias from WeChat, Facebook, Instagrams to our websites. So do scan and stay tuned to our news and events. Upcoming, so just going to promote HKIBIM Awards 2025. So the regular application is still available. So full material submissions by 5th of December 2025. So the timeline, we are targeting to host the award presentation ceremony and dinner banquet by end of March 2026. 3 categories: BIM projects, BIM organizations, individuals. So I highly recommend all BIMers or non-BIMers, right, to look into nominating your projects, your peers, yourself, your company for this award. The jury panels we have put together this time, first time for HKIBIM, and external jury panels. So we have invited individuals from Europe, Australia, Korea, US, and from Shanghai. So, and there's 3 other local jury panels. So I'm one of them. We have this more than 50 supporting organizations, 4 bureaus, offices, 10 different works departments, and then 5 authorities, including all the other institutes and academia organizations. So this is the sponsorship. The QR code will bring you to the link for our sponsorship package. So please share around with your peers, and if you are interested in attending the ceremony on March next year. So please help us out with the sponsorship. Thank you. Last but not the least, we'll be rolling out the technical for all the automations or those individuals who are willing to share all on GitHub. So hopefully this will roll out in the coming quarter. Okay, thank you. I'll hand it back to Kevin and our guest speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Guan. Once again, welcome everyone to join our sharing sessions. Today we are happy to invite Benjamin 𝗪𝗲𝗡 from 𝗪𝗲𝗽𝗪𝗆, Hong Kong. The topic today will be spatial representation and real-time data integration for digital twin on infrastructure project during the construction phase. Benjamin 𝗪𝗲𝗡, Civil Works Digital Manager at 𝗪𝗲𝗽 Hong Kong Limited, responsible for development of new technologies in construction such as digital twin, IoT, digital platform, and diverse solutions, as well as automation and workflow integration, including AI capabilities to empower construction collaborators. So now, please join me to welcome Benjamin for his sharing sections. Benjamin, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today for presenting about the very interesting subject that is getting more and more interest in Hong Kong, which is the spatial representation and real-time data integration on our construction project. So you just introduced me quickly. So I've been working now more than 10 years in Hong Kong, starting in production, method, a bit of design. I did also a bit of entrepreneurship to try to develop some new technologies for the construction. And I am back now in 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 for a few years, working as a Civil Works Digital Manager. So today, the presentation, I will give you a bit of context of what we call a digital twin on the project during the construction phase. Show you quickly the different technologies that we are using for real-time monitoring, address an inventory of spatial representation as a support for visualization, which is maybe a bit different from what you might be doing in BIM, which is mostly a technical and a very precise modeling. And as a conclusion, the approach and the different solutions that we deployed on our project. So mostly I will present what we have done on the 𝗪𝗪𝗯𝗶 project with MTR, because this project has won in the category ouvrage in the trophy in the digital twin in the BIM World Expo last year. And we have also well integrated the different forest requirements, the smart site safety system that are Hong Kong regulation now since the beginning of the project. To start with the digital twin, I just want to be a bit more clear of what we are talking about. There are actually 3 different states that we can call almost digital twin. So we have what we call the digital model, which is a physical object and virtual representation, which is mostly what you do with the BIM model or the world map. We also have in the high hand a physical object and a virtual representation that have automatic data flow between them. So a good example would be the industrial control panels of different industries. For us in construction, what we're actually doing is what we call digital shadow. I will continue to call it digital twin for the sake of common understanding, but the actual term is digital shadow, where we are actually gathering automatic information from the physical object back to our virtual representation. But we are not necessarily interacting with those physical objects on site. What is important to define is the stage of the project or the structure. Most of you probably work on the conception phase, ideation, planification of the structure. In this case, usually the physical object doesn't even exist yet, but you are working mostly on the virtual representation that might change along with the design process. We also want to differentiate from the exploitation phase, where the construction has been done already. We are more on the performance of the structure, and the maintenance of it. Usually the physical object is finalized and the virtual representation is mostly fixed for the purpose. For us in construction stage, it's a bit more complicated. We are in application of the design, the realization of the structure. Usually the physical object is changing on a daily basis. We are creating this object. The virtual representation might change as well based on the different change of design and even on the state of the project. And what is important as well is the implementation here of the digital twin is constrained and limited, because we are very limited in time and obviously economically quite constrained in our construction industry, but with more and more interest in Hong Kong. One thing I want to highlight as well, the different users for this phase of the project. We have technical, construction team, inspectors from our clients, and all the support departments. What they would usually want to see in a digital twin is the change of the virtual representation based on the physical object built, mostly technical. We want to compare the virtual representations that we are planning with the physical object built. We want to coordinate over the latest representation of the physical object. And the last part is quickly identify the current state of the project and localization potentially of sensor of people. So this is the kind of use cases that we have on this kind of digital twin. Then those definition brings some constraints and requirements on our virtual representation. Frequency, we need to be able to adapt to physical object changes. We don't need to change this representation every day, but we need to at least bring some new physical representation, virtual representation as much as possible. Here, as we are using virtual representation as a support for visualization, we want to aim for the good, not the best. So we need to be pragmatical in the way we do it. It has to be functional, easy to understand and interact for users. The users I just described are not necessarily technical people. It has to be visual. So here, usually we need to display various types of sensors, locations, readings. It has to be accessible. So everyone needs to have access to it. So no need to deploy a specialized software or equipment for everyone. And then the last one, which is important, light. It has to be quick to load and deploy for interaction. So all in all, the digital twin, actually, here we are talking about digital shadow. In our construction phase, it's changing and very constrained. Our audience mostly aim for comparison and coordination needs, and technical requirements, we want to aim for frequency over accuracy. So for the different now technology for real-time monitoring, I want to introduce the smart site safety system that has been introduced since 2023 in Hong Kong by the Development Bureau. The goal is to promote the adoption of advanced technology to reduce accidents and fatalities in the industry. So very focused on the safety part. So deployed in 2023, it has been reinforced by the CITF, so Construction Innovation and Technology Fund, in the same year. And recently, in 2024, we had the 4S labeling scheme to actually come, support, witness the deployment of those technologies on the project, as well as what we call the CMP, Centralized Management Platform, which is in a sense, the digital twin we are talking about today. On top of those requirements from the governance, we might also have some contract requirements. We are now with clients who are like MTR, where this project has been made. We are becoming more and more mature in technologies and their requirements. So the different components that we are going to talk about today is a deployment of a lot of smart safety devices, IoT, CCTVs, AI camera, application, etc. We usually have what we call a communication network, so data ingestion, reformatting, standardization, consolidation. And finally, what is going to be the output, the important part of it, the alert on site, as we are mostly working on a safety system, the digital twin, as we talked, and some KPI. So these one are usually a non-online platform for actionable interactive access. So those are the three main components, and I will go in more details during the presentation. Usually, I focus more my presentations on defining all those smart safety devices. I believe for today, this is not the focus, but it's going to be important for explaining why we have made such choices. So obviously, we have a part which is ensuring that we have a spatial representation of our project. We have what we put in place, CCTVs, AI camera, and all the alert management coming with it. We also push now more and more on the project, the attendance and geolocation, especially for a project, for example, which has a confined space, as we have a tunnel. We are also now having plant tracking, smart padlock, smart watch on the project to track people and plants, many environmental and geotechnical sensors, and new e-permit, plant certifications, spoil management, etc. So those are now the smart site safety devices that we are pushing on site that needs to be supported by the virtual representation to easily read those information. I want to talk about alert management a little bit because this is also the end goal in a sense. We are bringing a lot of sensors on site for a very good reason, to manage our project. And mostly for safety. So alert management is a very important part of it. And some things sometimes we can see on different projects, some things that the delivery project forget to focus on. So it's important that we define the different of alerts we can push on the project. Some will be alerts to prevent on-site, as the one I showed you before. So those are alerts to expect immediate and remedial action on site. We have also alerts that we use as KPI, serving as follow-up. For example, when we have too many alerts, thousands of alerts per day, it's mostly a trend that we need to improve. Alert as data usage, for example, AI camera, gathering the information about license plate to understand our logistic on site. So these alerts are kind of used just for data for ourselves. And then I think this is the most important, and what we wanted to present also on the digital twin is the alerts to manage. Basically alerts that we are expecting a review and actions from our different departments, so environmental department, safety department, that is also reviewed with our clients to ensure that we are putting the proper follow-up in place. So all in all, for the technology for real-time monitoring, we are starting with regulation in Hong Kong. We are trying to change this into opportunities for the project to have interesting use case. Technologies has been usually pushed either by the development bureau and the contract. What we really need to focus now when we are working on the project is to start with the use case, because depending on the use case we are going to define, not all the technologies are worth it. We have collection, integration, and visualization of those data. So data management here is important. I will go in more details a bit later in the presentation. And alert management as well to ensure we have an appropriate follow-up on our project. So this is for the introduction and context of what we are talking about. If we want to go a bit more now in the spatial representation as a support for visualization. We have many capabilities now thanks to technologies that are developing around the world. So we know very well the 2D drawing, flat representation of plan structure and project, which is now well used in method and more now transferred to the responsibility of BIM models. We can use the world map, which is the scale Earth geographic features and location. We have now also some 3D open data source for our use. We are using more and more the photogrammetry, so basically the use of pictures to create. We use one of the finalities is to have 3D tile surface, which are the best way for us to represent surface of objects. But we can also use this technology to develop just some 2D drawings or other kind of spatial representation. We have obviously the BIM model here, which is obviously the 3D model itself of the infrastructure, but also very rich in data that we can do more with it. 360 pictures, we are developing this mostly in the building area with spherical images capturing physical spaces, which are still very limited but very interesting for our teams, especially inspectors, to have a quick understanding of the inside of our infrastructure. We are also pushing the GIS, which is a management of spatial and geographical data on digital maps, so be able to draw some areas, some points, etc., and more. And then we have also Point Cloud, which is a collection of spatial data points in 3D space representing surface of objects, which has very good features, but might be complicated on our site for our current use case, which is spatial representation for visualization. So coming back to our main use cases, when we are looking at it and in more details, for example, of the CCTVs, in terms of spatial representation here, we only need to define the camera physical location one time, and most likely will be fixed for the rest of the project. In attendance and geolocation, depending on the granulometry where we want to track people and plant, we can usually have an area definition that needs to be done on a project. For plant tracking, smartwatch, for example, we might even have historical locations, so something a bit more precise, but that is moving and changing most of the time. Coming back to environmental and geotechnical sensor, it's more or less the same use case as for the CCTVs. We are looking here at precise and fixed location. And then for e-permit, plant certification, spoil management, usually those are graphic visualization. They don't need necessarily any spatial representation. For spoil management, we might follow the tracks on the project or even outside of the project where we would need then historical location. And for the e-permit, we can attach those ones either to a pin location or even an area of the project. So this is where our main use cases or our technologies are now linked with the spatial representation. So based on the list of the capabilities I just listed for you, we decided to focus more on the ones that are bringing quick value, especially in the context of a project construction phase where you can't deploy as much as you want, and also you want to focus on the ones that bring the most value for the project. So world map, it's free, it's there. It's very helpful for us to locate the project within the world environment. It's also very interesting for us when we are large infrastructure project, which is defined in many kilometers around. Maybe less useful for building, which are very limited in space. Photogrammetry help us to display the latest changes of the project. Obviously, a bit less powerful for the building part, as photogrammetry is very interesting to develop pictures on a very large scale area. The BIM model, so display temporary and plan final structure. So this one it's a mix and it's very interesting for our civil works project, but mostly very important for building projects. 2D drawings display the plan environment. Usually we overlay those two to be able to compare, for example, a site installation that was planned with the actual site installation on site. And then GIS, where we are using it in different ways, but will help us to create some display of areas or to input some information that doesn't exist in the sensor itself. For example, a sensor will give us the information about potentially their IDs, their actual values they are reading, etc. But they don't necessarily know their location. We are not putting a GPS on every sensors. So GIS help us to define those locations that do not exist in the object itself. So I will show you a few examples, comparison of spatial changes. What I'm showing you here right now is the photogrammetry models that we are using. On the left, you have the photogrammetry model of, it was the beginning of the project. On the right was the one a few months later. And thanks to a platform, we are able to compare both situations and see how the project has evolved since. We might as well bring some LiDAR or 3D scan in this visualization. But as I was mentioning before, what is important for us here is not to be accurate, is to support visualization and to be light. So being able to easily be open as it is right now, just on the web-based platform. Okay, so this is one of our use cases. Another use cases, as I mentioned, so we are combining now the photogrammetry with the GIS. So GIS trying to pinpoint the precise location of all the CCTVs on our project that are distributed as we can see here in our station. So the environment is changing often, but actually the CCTV might not change that often during our project. Another use of GIS is to draw areas, as I mentioned just before. So we are using our module, which is attendance, using the turnstile at every access to every part of our project. And then we are using information about the geolocation of our project to define, for example, here, the number of people in which area. Okay, so this one is a simple type of interaction. Another one to cover everything is the GIS integration from the sensors itself. Smartwatch, for example, might have the GPS information of where they are, and therefore we are using this information to feedback the information on the platform and to display the latest or an historical of the location for all our different people that we are trying to track. Not necessarily the focus, because it's mostly for safety. So the safety is mostly for knowing if they're in good health and they don't need any rescue anytime soon. So to come back, the spatial representation as a support for visualization, we have the capability, we have many possibilities, but we need to focus on the use cases. And here, when we are looking at the use cases, we are not trying to be accurate. We want to use it as a visual support. There are many changes in our project, as I mentioned, in this construction phase. So frequency and the localization of our assets is very important to assess and to be as efficient as possible, especially in the economic constraints of our project, where we are going to develop a lot of technologies for quite short time, let's say about 3 years of project, while, for example, in the maintenance or performance phase of your structure, it's worth to deploy maybe more advanced technologies or more expensive technologies, as you're probably going to have your structure for at least 10, 50 years, and therefore becoming worthwhile. So for us, we need to really focus on having a very pragmatical deployment of our project. To conclude on the approach and the solutions that we have deployed, we have used the drone flight and photogrammetry model on our site, mostly for the comparison. We are also usually displaying the BIM model to be able to compare, especially if we have some 4D information, to compare the timeline of what we have planned in design and the planning phase based on the reality of the project. And this is something that has been useful for our inspectors and for clients. We are also we are choosing as well this platform for alert management. So as you can see here, we are assessing and following our alerts directly by a different type of focus. So we have the geotechnical teams who are focusing on all the sensors that will be about tilting monitoring, etc. Environmental alerts, we have different type of alerts based on what we are looking at. So we have obviously the air, water, and noise level. But thanks to the technology now, we are also looking at AI camera. We are enabling us to develop more use cases, such as the detection of dirty wheels or dump truck cover, ensuring that they are closed before they are leaving our site. And finally, in safety, we are, as it's mostly the focus of the forest, we have now more and more use cases. So AI camera mostly. So on our project, as you can see here, we are using at the entrance with the AI camera, these are the turnstile area, some PPE check. We have deployed successfully, so the usual one, which is helmet and vest detection, but we have also pushed a little bit further, and now we are also able to say when someone has their gloves or their goggles on site, which is compulsory for us. We have also AI camera for trespassing to ensure people are not going through vehicle access. We have all the detections that are linked to the smartwatch, fall detection, heart rate, etc. We have different also access to the smart lock. So if we know if someone is not supposed to open, or the lock picking, or someone is trying to lock pick or break those alerts. One thing that is very interesting as well for us is the alert here. As you can see, you can either acknowledge or give false alarm. As we are doing a weekly review, we are capturing as much false alarm as we can, and then trying to build a partnership also with our different suppliers, especially for AI camera, to try to improve and to remove the false detection as much as possible, to try to enhance and to improve as much as we can the different technologies we push on site. Choice of technology for integration. So for the more technical part of it, so the environment capture with drone is directly pushed to and uploaded to the platform. We are using a platform for GIS to define areas, location, etc., with automatization that we are also pushing directly on the platform. But we are also trying to integrate with the different sensors, as I mentioned before. The definition of different sensors were actually fixed and do not have this information. We are actually manually inputting this one, integrating in the format we usually send to the spatial representation provider. Obviously, we are also managing the data to provide all the alerts which are on site to be managed or as a data or KPI. So this is a very important part for us to manage and to support the project. So finally, the principles to sum up a bit the presentation today. If you're interested, we can also go in more details on the different technologies we developed, which ones are the ones we are happy with, the ones we don't recommend or we recommend with more research. So what is important is to understand that in the construction phase, we have an economical and physical constraints for the project. We cannot deploy as much as we would like. There is the technology, we know, we are aware there are a lot of exchanges or sharing, such as today, about the different technologies on site. But what is important for us is to really focus on the use cases and spend as much time as we can with the construction teams. Data management is becoming also more and more crucial. Real-time information is not an easy way to manage data, and the industry is getting more and more mature about this. I'm not even talking about also all the cybersecurity aspects of it, which are becoming more and more complicated, and the fact that one network on the project has to integrate different suppliers, but who should never talk to each other. And finally, again, spatial representation here is supposed to be a support for visualization only. And we are not deploying the same technology as, for example, as I mentioned it, but didn't demonstrate it, the point cloud, where usually those are very heavy models that we cannot really interact with very efficiently and are actually very accurate. And this is not the purpose of the digital twin today in the construction. So that's the end of the presentation for today. Thank you for your time. I hope you've learned a bit more about what we are doing, and don't hesitate if you have any questions.
Thank you, Benjamin. So now we are in the Q&A sections. So members, feel free to ask any question if you're interested to ask anything to Benjamin. Maybe just start from my side first, Benjamin. So I've seen the presentation have been present quite a lot about the digital twin and the 4S. Actually, I have one fundamental question first from my side. For those applications and the use cases, are those proposed from the client they ask you to do, or you from your side to propose to the client to do that? I was interested.
Yeah, so what we need to differentiate is the fact that 4S is mostly made for the government contract. Today, the example I show you is an MTR contract, which is not from the government. So they have developed what they call a DCSMS part of the contract, which is Digital Construction Site Management Platform, which is taking more or less what has been defined in the 4S, but is also expanding, for example, for us, exploiting, for example, the geotechnical, the environmental sensor, etc., that are not necessarily in the 4S. So, and what I mentioned also at the beginning is that this contract, same as for the 4S, is mostly focusing on technologies. So we have discussed many times with the construction teams, both in the contractor and client side, to define clearly the use cases and then to exchange together in the best technology to be deployed.
Okay, so about the 4S, the main features is about the safety. So from your experience from Jagaj, could you share some experience to us? Is there any story or any statistics from you or from the client that after applying the 4S, is there any really beneficial to them, or just we want to use it so we have it? Or any story that really saved someone's life? Could you share it with us?
Yeah, you're right. Indeed, most of the stories we might have heard is check the box situation where we just push the 4S. Situations we have used, what I can share maybe is about the trespassing we wanted to deploy. So trespassing, what I mean by that is that we have a vehicle access, and we don't want people to access our job site through this vehicle access. But first, because we don't know if they have all the certification, etc., to access our project, or they don't even have the knowledge to access our project. We don't know. So what we've done is that we installed some cameras on top. And when we were looking at the data, we find out that there were so many detections, like thousands for each entrance. We found out that what happened is that as we have traffic marshal on the project, they are, going back and forth. It's basically their job to be there. So we wanted to avoid this kind of detection. and to bring meaningful information to our construction manager and safety team. So what we've deployed is by working with the suppliers, we have deployed the pink helmet to all our traffic marshals. And we have now worked with the supplier to remove the detection of those pink helmets. And now we are down to a normal process with a normal detection. And safety teams could have some now meaningful information to share with their construction manager and to really find out who are the ones who are trespassing actually. So this is kind of things we are also happy to work with, because it's very important that some suppliers, they don't have much experience, they don't have access to a job site all the time. So working with them to try to improve also this kind of detection is very valuable for us to work.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So I think one step forward to the digital twin or the 4S, there's two things you might personally think of. One of them is integration of different systems. As I see your presentation, there are quite a lot of different 4S from the different vendors and for the digital twin, but actually they are scattered all around. They really don't talk to each other. I think the next step could be a kind of the integrated platform or integrate a kind of common language. So every platform or every system can talk to each other, and then we can integrate in one platform instead of scattered around different platforms for those users.
Yes, exactly. But that's the idea with the digital twin here, is like really to gather the same level of information in the same virtual space that we are creating for the users. Actually, most of the suppliers, indeed, they have a platform for themselves that we are only, my team is mostly using for the maintenance of it. For example, of the smart lock or the smartwatch itself. Usually they have the battery detection. They have a battery alert. Yeah. Battery alerts is only kept on the platform on my side, on my team side, to maintain the smartwatch. But I don't think it's necessary for the safety teams or construction teams to receive thousands of alerts of smartwatch on a daily basis. So this is where it's actually interesting to have this kind of common platforms, make it as a product for the average users, I would say, and for the more technical part to try to keep this information just for maintenance for those different technologies, because this is a maintenance of those technologies is also a big job.
Yeah, very good example. I think another thing I personally think of is about now we have seen quite a lot of 4S application, but I think most of them they are not prediction. They are just how to handle the things already happen on the site. I think the other way we can think of is about the prediction, because I think from perspective of contractor like 𝗪𝗲𝗽, I think you have a lot of project experience. Actually, when you gather those information from different project and different type of the project and different clients, actually your guys can have a kind of the predictions before those errors or those things happens. Then it could be a very valuable to the client, I think.
Yes. But prediction is still a bit hard, I would say. Yeah. We see some general trends, let's say, when you have a very strong supervisor who suddenly is going for a week on holidays, you can see already like a bit, some compliance in terms of some part of the safety, which are not critical, but can happen. I think some things that we have also, I would say, invested in, because usually it's more expensive, is the prevention. For example, the usage of AI cameras, you usually have two ways of deploying it. You have the on-edge detection with a computer directly on site, where and the other one is the cloud detection. The problem with cloud detection, you have a delay most of the time of a few seconds, and if you have any internet access problems, then you don't have the information back. What we have deployed mostly, give you the example of PPE check, because it's a non-edge detection, you can give a feedback directly to the user. So what we have seen most of the time with the PPE detection is that if someone forget to put their helmet, for example, they will receive an alert on site. This is why I really want to focus here also, is that alert on site is a must. It's not someone who is 10 kilometers away from the job site receiving an alert that is going to bring any safety on the project. It will just analyze it later, but the project is on site. So basically having on-edge detection of AI cameras allows to have a direct feedback to the construction collaborators on the project. And so what we witness most of the time is that if they forget to put their helmet, they put it back. And then basically the technology helps you to have a safer place because you have done prevention.
Yeah.
So this is one also very interesting things we saw is we really try to push on edge detection to have safety on site and not on the platform.
Yeah, that's interesting. So members, if you have any question, feel free to ask in the user Q&A functions.
Hello, Benjamin. This is Guan. Can you share with the members or the attendees, what is the system architecture for the platforms, which I see the CMP platforms that 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗃 is adopting, and also what is the maybe you can share some light into what is the investment going on, just so that the members can actually understand, if they are looking to these 4S systems, then what are the kind of investments, and then the third part of it is what is the roadmap? It could be on a personal in your personal perspective, what you are going to adopt, if not due to the constraints of economicals, but what you could really like to do down if you are going to set up the roadmap for these 4S systems and CMP platforms. Yeah.
Okay, interesting question. So on our side, what we have tried to do, as I mentioned before, is that we have put ourselves in the middle as an integrator of technology to the CMP. Why we have chosen to be in the middle? First, to learn and to work more closely with the different suppliers. Because we could also have stepped out and just give the contact between the supplier for the visuals and the supplier of technology and say, please do your work and do it. Why we wanted to do this is first to consolidate. So now all the integration we have done with our different suppliers exists in our project. In the future projects, we will just have to plug and play. It will be very easy and very fast for us to deploy. We also, on our side, have other, as you mentioned just before, is that if we want to cross information between the different suppliers, they will most likely not do it themselves, unless there is a very, very good reason, or maybe there is a new development bureau cases that is compulsory for them to partner. So this is where we put in place some cross functions. One of them, for example, we are using the turnstile system to ensure the people are on site. So we have a very clear list of people. This is the same list that we are linking with the tags or the geolocation of people. So those two vendors do not talk to each other. They talk to each other through our integration, and this is where in a sense the magic happens. So first, in terms of scale, we try to consolidate ourselves all the different integrations we have done with our different suppliers. The second thing we are starting to do, because 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗃 is part of the Bouygues company. Bouygues is an international also company. We are also having different kind of projects around the world. One thing we want to look is all the AI cameras. So we have a lot of suppliers, we have very good models, etc. But the thing is, like, those suppliers, they don't own the camera, they don't have project on them for themselves. So if, let's say they want to develop a new AI functionalities, they will have potentially to ask every different client, please, can you give this camera on this angle for this kind of use case, which most likely will not happen. But as a contractor, if we want to gather different videos or different angles or whatever we would like to invest in, we potentially have a lot of projects we can call and say, please put this camera here. give me the stream of videos, and I will want to use it to train whatever models we have internally. So this is also something we are looking at the moment to see if there is something internally we can improve. I know we have still a long way to go because the different technologies out there are quite mature already, but in order to, to improve and push the innovations in this field of forests, especially for safety, we are trying to look at this as well.
Okay, thank you. Another way about the digital twin among of the safety is about the construction or PM or project management. It's about all cost and time. So could you share with our members, is there any further plan from your side how to play the time and the money? That means with the digital twin or any other integrations that can improve that time and cost?
Alors, digital twin wise, I don't think so, because mostly what we are focused is on the real-time integration. Cost, I would say cost and time mostly is on the daily, weekly basis, which might not be necessarily useful to be pushed directly on the digital twin. So usually they are quite separated. Where it's actionable most of the time is the fact that our team is actually coordinating around those photogrammetry models, especially on site installation. So usually from the drone pictures, we are remaking a 3D models here, but what we usually do is do a 2D layout that we are giving back to the production teams for them to actually discuss over in coordination. And this is where we can save time, allocate resource in a smart way for them on the daily basis. But to come back to your question, putting cost and time here is not the way for now for us.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So see if any other question from members. All right. So I think thank you very much, Benjamin, for your sharing. So I think that's come to the end of our sharing sections. But members, if you have any question you think of from your head after the sharing sessions, just feel free to send us the question, then we can forward it to Benjamin to answer your questions. So I think once again, thank you very much, Benjamin from 𝗥𝗲𝗽𝗆 for the fruitful sharing to us. So that is we're going to the end of this sharing sessions. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Thank you, members, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you.